My wife fell in love with an intern at her company. She gave me the car, the house, and the money, and walked away with nothing but a divorce certificate. She said, "James, I can't betray Alexander, and I don't want to betray you either." I looked at this woman who once crammed into a tiny apartment with me, eating instant noodles, promising to be with me forever. I wiped the corner of my eye and softly said, "All right." Hearing my response, Wendy was stunned for a moment, as if she didn't expect me to agree so easily. She thought I'd at least put up a big fight, refusing to let go. After all, she was ready to drag things out with me, thinking she had the resolve to go through a lawsuit or a Cold War. That's Wendy for you. She never hesitates when it comes to what she likes. Just like back then, she liked me so much she was willing to fight for me, get me out of that suffocating household. She said, "If you want to bully James, you gotta deal with me first." She smashed a bottle on a guy's head, shards of glass flying everywhere. Her fierce gaze made those thugs back down. They swayed a bit, then slowly released me and left. They just wanted to use me to pay off my mom's gambling debts, not cause any real harm. I cried while covering her wounds, my heart aching, but she managed to smile, proudly holding me close. "James, I told you, I like you, and I won't let anyone bully you." But now, she doesn't like me anymore. She fell for that new intern. Wendy opened her mouth, finally showing some guilt in her eyes. "James, I wronged you, but I like Alexander. I can't let him carry the label of homewrecker. I want to be with him openly." She was straightforward even now, approaching 30 with the same youthful spirit. Such nobility. Who wouldn't admire true love? But I just had one question. I wiped my eyes, looked up, and smiled. Just one small question. Did your Alexander only find out today that you weren't single? At first, she complained the new assistant was clumsy, timid like a kitten, and she was dissatisfied. Later, she got angry about the Valentine's gift Alexander picked out for me, saying who gifts a Gundam model for Valentine's Day? Yet, her accused assistant looked up with innocent eyes and said, "But I think it's cool." Wendy laughed exasperatedly, but I clearly saw the helplessness and affection in her eyes. Eventually, she said Alexander truly liked her, and such a sincere guy deserved the best. Naturally, she needed to regain her freedom to stand openly with him. But Wendy said she didn't want the innocent Alexander to bear the label of a homewrecker. So when their feelings burgeoned, was he unaware Wendy was married? Hearing my question, Wendy's expression went blank for a moment. Then she turned away. "James, it was uncontrollable emotions. But I promise, until that point, we did nothing inappropriate. We have no guilty conscience towards you." Indeed, joking in the office was not cheating. Defending him and giving him a ride home wasn't either, nor was standing up for him when he was frustrated. I sighed, nodding. "Fine, let's get divorced." Wendy didn't want anything, giving me the house, car, and money, leaving with nothing just for a divorce certificate. What could I possibly be dissatisfied about? Wendy finally let out a breath of relief, looked at me happily. "James, I knew you'd understand and let us be together." Of course she knew, because from 18 to 28, it's always been her and me. We met, dated for 4 years, and married for 5. I'm gentle by nature, not one to hold grudges, especially as a teenager. At first, Wendy always complained I didn't really like her. Otherwise, why would I not show any jealousy? She was so mad she didn't show up in front of me for 3 days. 3 days later, she appeared resigned, lowered her head in frustration. "James, you win. I really do like you, even if you don't care. I'm willing to be your fool." That's when I hugged her close. She didn't know I had searched for her everywhere for 3 days, almost on the brink of despair. Holding her, terrified, I whispered, "You said so, don't leave, I'm scared." She froze, then delightedly wrapped her arms around me. As if she had just won a great victory, her smile wide. "I thought you really didn't care. Your temperament is just like a cat." After that, we got into the same university, graduated, and stuffed ourselves into a tiny apartment, eating noodles. When our company was new, we scraped by to secure business. Eventually, everything got on track. She proposed, we got our marriage certificate, and had an extravagant wedding because she said, I like James, and James deserves the best. Now everything is settled, and she holds the divorce certificate, saying, James, don't blame me, Alexander deserves the best. The intern was waiting not far away, looking quite delicate, a bit timid as if I had bullied him. Wendy noticed, pulling him protectively. Alexander is timid. If you have grievances, talk to me, don't scare him. Alexander blushed, shyly saying to me, James, don't mind, she's just got a bad temper. She means no harm. With that familiar tone, one might think it wasn't me who spent 10 years with Wendy but him. I was just an outsider. The truth was indeed so. Watching the unsettling scene before me, my bitterness had long turned numb. I held up the divorce certificate, smiled and said, no worries, we won't be in touch anyway. For some reason, Wendy frowned, hesitated. James, even divorced, we're still friends. If you need anything, you can come to me. Alexander's smile froze beside her. I had no reaction. Shook my head. No need. I won't have anything come up, and even if I do, it won't be her. After all, she's got nothing now, no money, no power. What's the point of even looking for her? Besides, I don't have the habit of messing with married women. That one line turned their faces pale. Like they were guarding against me. Alexander was desperate to change the subject with her. Sitting in what used to be my passenger seat, he kindly asked me, where are you headed, James? How about letting Wendy give you a lift? Wife ditches me for a younger guy, tears soaking my Land Rover. I tearfully declined and drove my Land Rover to the fertility center. The doctor I had an appointment with had been waiting and handed me a new report. James, it looks like the IVF you and Wendy started has been successful. The embryo is developing steadily. Wendy left me the cars, the house, and a child. But she'll never know that. After the divorce, I stuck to my original plan and moved the company base to City A. Everyone knew Wendy gave up her kingdom for a pretty face. The company she built from scratch, handed over just like that, and her husband, too, was gone with the wind. Her wedding with Alexander was a big deal, even live-streamed on the big screens in City B. She might have walked through storms and come out with nothing, but still had connections. A lot of mutual friends, who couldn't calm their indignation, attended. 10 years, and not even 6 months after the split, she's already this unashamed, marrying so ostentatiously. It was deliberate, a calculated move to humiliate me. Folks online were saying Alexander was her true love, that I was just a stepping stone, the choice she made because her heart wasn't in it. To which I could only scoff. If anyone knew, it was us, the sort of partnership Wendy and I had in facing life's trials. Like hell, I was a freeloader. But it was true about the live stream. Of course, there were people watching. The comments were quite something. This is straight out of a novel. The heroine dumps a deadbeat side character and gets hitched with the actual leading man. How sweet. Just another day being an NPC. Bet that greasy dude who's out of the picture is fainting in a bathroom somewhere. Serves him right. If it weren't for him, Alexander wouldn't have been hurt so many times. That's when I realized Alexander had been documenting his life with Wendy online. Turns out they were #couple goals to many followers. Many commented, it's like witnessing the epitome of those puppy-like boy leads meeting the alpha female CEO from a drama. Can't the creepy side character just get lost so the real couple can have their happy ever after? Truth is, they've got their wish. I did lose my family. My dad passed early. A gambling mom died 3 years ago. Left soulless in a dump. Just a pile of ashes now. I've got nothing left. Just sipping nourishing soups. Keeping my child healthy. Surrounded by luxury cars. Dealing with Wendy's absence and endless solitude. To mutual friends, I say, don't bother sending me photos anymore. I've let it go. I never told them that Wendy did send me an invite for her wedding. She said over the phone, James, we're still friends after all. Don't you want me to be happy? That made Alexander's eyes glisten, and he came out sheepishly. James, you're not still mad, right? Was I wrong to win Wendy's heart? It's odd. Alexander looked teary, but it seemed to fuel Wendy's anger. James, do we have to stay on bad terms? Even if we're not married anymore, we were together for so long. Can't we be friends? I chuckled in disbelief. I hadn't said much out of consideration for the stuff I was still left with, money and property. Did my silence make them think I was a fool? But I've always been the patient type, never getting into arguments, so even now, I kept it smiley. Friends? Sure, why not? Originally, I couldn't make it, but seeing you're so insistent, I'll send a gift, alright? They seemed pleased. Knew you weren't petty, James. I tuned out the rest. No time for fools. Most definitely blocked them. Doc mentioned too much stress isn't good for the child's well-being. Later, I heard that on the actual wedding day. Something seemed off with the bride, constantly glancing towards the door as if expecting someone. But no one showed. Not until she received 99 wreaths from her ex during the live stream, reading "May you never have kids and congrats on becoming a stepmom" in big, bold letters. But that's not my problem, is it? It's been 7 years now, and true to my word, I've cut off everything about Wendy. I just never expected to see her again at an art show in City A. Then there I was, hand in hand with my daughter, admiring paintings. Tiffany's her nickname. She's pale, sweet, not a crybaby but loves a good scrap. She punches her way through when other kids call her something heartless like a motherless child. When facing those parents, they stand defiant. My kid's not wrong. No wife, huh? Kid doesn't have a mom, too. I try to reason. Let's not shout, talk it out. Them. Born to a mom who didn't stick around. Clearly, your child lacks discipline. Me. You think you could use better language? But they couldn't care less. The wife's a big shot manager, and their kid's gotten away scot-free. Even after one incident nearly blinded a kid. They're fearless, practically jabbing a finger in my face, spitting while they speak. So what if I said it? Who do you think you are? Just wait till my wife arrives. We'll see about your kind. Look at you, all pretty boy. Who knows what your kid's turned into? I sigh and call my assistant. Half an hour later, once smug, now they're desperate, begging me to spare the wife's career. I held my child, feeling helpless. Everyone says I've been nice about it, so why won't they listen? Is this your wife? Come on, Xiaozhang, stop standing and kneel down when you speak. The person I'm paying $1 million a year dares to dance in front of me, blind as she is. When she first pushed the door open, her demeanor was aggressive, demanding the principal fire someone at first glance. You took in a widower's son? Aren't you afraid of bad luck? She turned and saw me sitting calmly. Her legs buckled from shock when she realized. James. She finally remembered that her reclusive boss was a widower with a son too. Yes, ever since the divorce with Wendy, I've been saying I was widowed. She kneeled quickly, way before her husband understood what was happening. James? What James? The guy sensed something off, looking at me instinctively. I sipped my tea, raising my eyes. I didn't know Lucy and her husband were so short-tempered. Lucy knew her husband's mouth all too well. They were always equally matched. Sweat trickled down her forehead as she stammered. James, it's a misunderstanding. She stumbled over her husband. The supposedly imposing man went pale, his speech turning to stutters. Why, yes, a misunderstanding. He forced a stiff smile, pulling his son as he looked at me. Just a kid speaking nonsense. Lucy shot her son a look, gritting her teeth. Apologize already. Even the most rowdy kid is still a child. Spoiled brats stand no chance against adults' intimidation. Soon he was crying and apologizing. My daughter turned her head, huffing and staying silent. Lucy managed to smile. They've learned their lesson. James is known for his good temper, never one to argue. Don't worry, I'll discipline him well once we get home. Gotta admit, Lucy knows me well. I never argue, always speak smoothly. Like now, nodding with satisfaction. As long as you educate your kid properly, that's best. Every single dad deserves respect. Besides, the fault lies more with you adults. I set my teacup down, smiling along with Lucy, warm like a concerned boss. As I understand, the tuition here runs tens of thousands a semester. I imagine Lucy's talents will land her a high-paying job elsewhere soon, right? Lucy's smile froze. Behind me, her pleas mingled with her husband's and their child's cries. I turned away, holding my son. My phone showed a message from my assistant. James, per your instructions, Lucy's resignation is nearly finalized. I reacted without much emotion. Compensate her as necessary, but she's done in this field. A swift affirmation from the other end. I'm an easygoing person. From the moment I realized arguing solves nothing, I've never raised my voice at anyone. Instead of wasting time and words, I preferred decisive actions. Wendy moved on, so I divorced, taking all my assets. She and her family were unreasonable, so I fired and blacklisted them. When my mom gambled excessively, expecting me to cover for her, I cut all ties. One morning, I simply received the news of her death in a trash heap. In the car, my little boy nestled in my neck, still upset about those earlier remarks, whispered, "Daddy, don't be afraid. Even without a mom, Tiffany will fight the bad guys and protect you." Such a sweet, sensible child. Made my heart ache. I patted his head, calming him down. Now, at an art exhibit meant to relieve some stress with him, I heard a surprised voice. "James?" Turning around, I saw Wendy, looking far from her once confident self. Makes sense. We were at the top of our game back then. Startups are always a mix of risks and rewards. But the market is settled now. Making a fresh start isn't as easy. She lost weight, lost her carefree boldness, but still wore a sharp suit, though it had some wrinkles you couldn't quite iron out. Beside her was Alexander in casual wear. "What are you doing here?" I was puzzled. I remembered the exhibit was invite only, no entry without one. Wendy seemed not to hear my question and spoke happily. "I've been trying to reach you for years, James. Seeing you okay is a relief. What's there to worry about?" "James, how have you been all these years?" Wendy asked cautiously. I nearly forgot. After taking over the company and focusing on my child, I chose to keep a low profile, staying behind the scenes. Though still running the show outwardly, someone else was listed as the director. Wendy probably thought I wasn't handling things well without her and sold the company. I didn't bother explaining. I nodded, saying, "I'm doing fine." Politely I asked back, "And you?" Wendy paused to respond, Alexander quickly holding her arm. "We're good too. Thanks for your concern, James. But let's not pry too much into a married woman's life." His clear wariness left a sense of discomfort out of place, making it almost seem petty. Funny how he didn't consider the married aspect when he and Wendy were flirting. Wendy once found such jealousy adorable, loving her man more for it. But now she furrowed her brows. "I'm just catching up with James. Why are you fussing?" Her irritation starkly contrasted with her previously eager love. Alexander's expression froze. He was straightforward, well accompanied by Wendy after college, eventually marrying his love. Seemingly simple and naive, but his self-esteem ran deep. Wendy's public embarrassment left him humiliated, especially over me, souring his mood further. And sadly, he still resorted to the same old move. Sure enough, the next second he got teary-eyed, stubbornly biting his lip. "You really still look down on me. I'm not as capable, not as considerate as him, but you once said, even so, I'd always hold the top spot in your heart." He didn't get the chance to say that. The woman who used to love him fiercely, the one who could chat for hours over the phone, didn't even have the patience to hear a full sentence now. She bluntly said, "Why say anything if you know you're not good enough?" I smiled politely and took a step back, distancing myself. "Seeing as you two have personal matters, I'll leave you be." In my mind, I was already planning to ask security how such irrelevant people slipped in. Unfortunately, this pair wasn't ready to let me go. Exposing Alexander's sore spots pushed him to tears. Tears that once made Wendy swoon, turning into pitiful ones now. "You finally said what you really feel. Huh, you liar. Didn't you say you loved me most? Don't you remember the promises you made?" He cried and clung to Wendy, relentless. Too bad this was an important occasion. No one's gonna think that's cute anymore. Several eyes shot daggers for the disturbance. Wendy, usually the one people flatter, was embarrassed for once. Through gritted teeth, "Can you not embarrass yourself like this?" She couldn't believe she once found this man adorable. Turns out picking a husband like James, someone with grace, was the real deal. Men like him, they're just for fun, not the real thing. Pity she learned this lesson only recently. Thinking back to the reasons she pushed to divorce James and marry this guy was a nightly regret. Wendy fumed internally, not caring how Alexander froze when her words landed. She focused on me, like she wanted to say something. Just then, a young voice cut in. "Dad, who are they?" The scene went silent. The two caught in the quarrel only now noticed Tiffany holding my hand. A little one witnessing the drama, face expressionless, without the innocence and naivety her age should bring. "A kid?" Wendy's voice shook, staring at Tiffany's face, which bore a slight resemblance to hers. "James, this child is..." As much as she didn't want to admit it, the face didn't lie. Even without me saying anything, Wendy was almost ecstatic. Alexander caught on, his already cracked calm turning vicious. "A kid? You went and had a kid. You're just trying to use the child to win Wendy back, aren't you? You squandered your company and Wendy's money. Now you're hoping to use this kid for her to take you back. Shameless," he shouted, sounding like he found a vent for all the things he hesitated to say before. "Wait till Wendy's business deal here is closed. You won't see her again. How did a guy like you sneak into this kind of event? Do you even belong here? Don't you know Wendy and I are getting back together? Once this deal is through, I'll be rich again, back to how things were. But James, why? Why is it always you? Why do you keep showing up? Security. Where's security? How's an art event letting in someone so shameless?" He was hysterical. As security approached, he arrogantly pointed at me and Tiffany, giving orders. "Kick them out already. If your boss finds out you let someone like him in, you'll be in trouble." Security seemed confused and looked over at me. "The art exhibit owner? Well, that's me. This morning, my assistant said that the small business owner begging for a chance to collaborate was actually Wendy." Alexander regained his arrogance like a winner, sneering, "You've chased someone else's wife here. Forgot Wendy divorced you because you blocked her and said never to meet again. So, regretting it now? You think having this illegitimate child will get Wendy back from me?" Quickly, I covered Tiffany's ears. Luckily, the little one didn't hear. If she knew she was insulted for trying to win back trash, she'd throw a fit. God knows how long it'd take to calm her. "Enough, stop it." Alexander's outburst drew everyone's gaze again as Wendy reverted to defending me like in our youth. Glaring at him. "James only loves me deeply, and he's my real husband. The child is my own blood. What makes you think you can comment? Never forget how you convinced me to leave my husband." The crowd gasped at her words. 5 years on, and what was once reckless love became ugly and raw scars in public. Wendy accused Alexander of seducing her to abandon her family. Alexander, hysterical, urged security to throw me out. Nervous, security approached and respectfully said, "Mr. Anno, they have invitations. We didn't expect this to happen." "Anno?" The arguing pair looked over incredulously. "Should have mentioned, Anno is my artist pen name, and I'm the main organizer for this exhibit." In essence, the elusive invite they chased after was for me, the one they hoped for a partnership. Now, thinking deeper, those invites might have been swiped. A closer check next time is needed. The security still explained to me amidst the chaos. I shook my head. "Invites are fine, it ain't your fault. My mistake. I've been busy taking Tiffany on trips lately, and my new assistant isn't in on my private life, so when they mentioned an interesting, promising project today, I didn't ask much about the other person and just agreed to meet up. This kind of set the stage for everything going wrong. Actually, when Wendy bravely left everything behind, even divorced Alexander for the sake of love, I knew it wouldn't end well for her. She was confident, believing she could once again start from scratch and achieve great things without relying on anyone. But she forgot a pig could fly if caught in the right tailwind. How could she get that lucky every time? Opportunities are fleeting, and once lost, they're gone forever. But I didn't think Wendy would end up doing so poorly. Even after all these years, she's still stuck at the bottom. No way. How could he be Anno? Alexander was the first to snap back and reject the idea. He's just a guy who knows nothing, got ahead by relying on women. Without Wendy, he should have sold the company and fallen into hard times. How could he be Anno? Basically, he just couldn't accept that the person in front of him was actually me. He didn't want to admit he made a misjudgment back then, while I remained successful. My success gnawed at him more than his failures. Anno, how are you planning to handle this? The security team only asked me. Over there. Wendy looked shocked, then delighted. James, I knew you wouldn't sell the company we built together. Let's talk. With my plan, the company can reach new heights. We can work together like before. For the first time, I found it annoying and wanted to avoid her. Throw them out. The 6-foot-tall, 8-pack of security guards were eager to prove themselves to their employer. Hearing this, they each grabbed one person and tossed them out like dogs, right in front of everyone. Someone was shocked. Isn't that the famous Wendy from City B? What happened to her? I heard she divorced her husband for an intern. I thought she must be amazing. Who knew she'd end up with nothing after leaving her husband? Wendy? Just a disgraced mutt. She's nothing. Wendy always cared about saving face, but today she lost all dignity. And every word was heard clearly. Even when starting her business, no one treated her like this, let alone during her peak. But everything has changed. When did it all start? Lying on the ground, she suddenly glared at Alexander. Alexander was still cursing me. He couldn't believe that I could do well without Wendy and was thriving. While he, far from becoming the wealthy house husband he dreamed of, ended up in a strained, resentful relationship with Wendy. Wendy ignored him and walked toward the back door of the art exhibit. Seeing Tiffany coming out escorted by security, she was delighted. She rummaged through her pockets and finally found a piece of candy in a corner. Alexander must have put it there. When he was an intern and they hinted at romance, he'd sneak candy into Wendy's bag every day. After Wendy caught on, she scoffed. Are you trying to sue the kid? He'd just stick his tongue out playfully. But you work so hard. A sweet treat each day would make you smile. Even then, I didn't go out of my way for Wendy like that, though I'd cook for her whenever I had time. Still, it's different from thoughtful gestures like this. That's why Wendy found it intriguing. Eventually, she divorced and married Alexander. At first, everything was just as she thought. Even though I blocked her, she seemed happy with Alexander. She enjoyed his youthful charm. But gradually, the straight path she envisioned for her startup became full of challenges. She got involved in grueling tasks, barely made some money, only to come home and find the card maxed out. The culprit flaunted a new gaming console. Babe, look, isn't it great? They fought bitterly. This opened a floodgate of conflicts, never to cease since. What she once found charming turned into absurdity, and once adorable jealousy transformed into petty tantrums. That candy, who knows when it was put there? Forgotten. But that's fine. As her daughter, she'll understand her intentions and not mind. Tiffany? You're Tiffany, right? She approached the girl, with what she thought was an amiable smile. I'm your mom. Tiffany looked up, innocence absent in her gaze, staring at Wendy as if at a crazy person. She said, Lady, why are you being mean? The bodyguard seemed ready to escort her away. She quickly explained, Tiffany, I really am your mom. There's a misunderstanding between your dad and me. He's upset, but now that I know you exist, I understand how much he cares about us. Tiffany, don't you want Daddy to be happy? Let's have fun and plan a surprise for him. Okay? Though downtrodden, she still looked charming, especially to a 6-year-old. Indeed. Tiffany tilted her head. Really? Of course, Tiffany. Mommy loves you. Wendy reached out, her face beaming. Tiffany smiled too. The next moment, her expression dropped, staring blankly at the woman. Get rid of her, she ordered the bodyguard plainly. The guard raised his hand. She was hit to the ground, struggling. Tiffany, I'm your mom. Your real mom. So you're the one who upset Daddy? I won't believe you, you're bad. It's all a misunderstanding. Wendy tried to explain. I was tricked too, and Daddy must have said bad things about me out of anger. But it's okay. I don't blame him. I'll make it right with you both. But before she could finish, Tiffany was already looking down at her. "Miss, surely you didn't think Dad wouldn't tell me everything, did you?" Indeed, Wendy assumed that for the child's good, I would avoid mentioning anything to her. This gave her plenty of chances to make it up, starting with the kid. As long as Tiffany likes her, I'll try to accept her for Tiffany's sake. But she didn't expect the supposedly easy-to-convince kid to go. "Dad's told me about you since I asked where Mom was. You're a bad person for leaving Dad for a bad man, and I'm gonna help Dad deal with you." She overthought it. I never sugarcoated anything or avoided talking about her. I'm not wrong. Tiffany, as a child, has the right to know. Better to tell her the truth now than have Wendy stir up trouble later. Wendy wouldn't give up. "Don't you miss Mom at all? Raising me was Dad's job, attending parent-teacher meetings was Dad's job, teaching me to talk and walk was Dad's job. Why would I turn on Dad for a stranger?" This little one learned some new phrases secretly playing on the phone, raising her head proudly. This was for Dad. Wendy got a good beating. When Tiffany returned, she naturally held my hand. I looked down. "Weren't you going to the restroom? Why'd it take so long?" She looked up, covering her belly and frowning innocently. "Had a tummy ache. Dad, carry me." I didn't suspect a thing and picked her up. Didn't see her snicker quietly on my shoulder. After putting her to sleep, I finally had time to finish my work. Rubbing my temples. "I told you to keep an eye. Are you doing that?" The assistant nodded. "Yeah, we're on it." Once she found out who you were, she ran to the company asking to see you. I said, "Then throw her out. And let everyone know that any company that signs with Wendy can forget about working with us. Anyone hiring her is against me, James. If everyone wants to mess with me, James, I don't mind a showdown. Don't say I didn't warn them." These words were decisive, with no room for negotiation. The assistant looked blank for a moment, not hesitating, just surprised. "James, you really going to go this far? Why not? What's the point of letting her off easy?" I thought it was a no-brainer. A shady woman and a traitor, you gotta deal with them when they're down. Why give them a chance to bounce back? I'm just not one for arguments. Doesn't mean I don't hold grudges. When Wendy cheated on me, I took her entire share and left her with nothing. I let it go. As for Alexander, he just took a disloyal woman. Not worth my revenge. But what they shouldn't have done is show up again. One trying to take my daughter, another calling her a bastard. In front of everyone. If I don't teach them a lesson, how can I keep my place in this city? Wendy and Alexander don't get it. A lesson from the top is like a mountain on their heads. Some debts, well, they need to be settled. The assistant moved fast. Over the years, I secured my standing in this city. Business circles, they know what's up. No one would piss me off for a middle-aged woman launching her second attempt at a career. Wendy ended up constantly hitting walls afterwards. And Alexander, since that day, has been nervously watching Wendy come back defeated. Weren't you supposed to be all that? Why can't you even match up to James? He's kept up appearances online, drawing envious fans dreaming of marrying rich, feeding his vanity. But lies get exposed eventually. If Wendy can't get back on her feet, the fake swag and lovey-dovey act is gonna blow up. James? He's out of your league. In their rundown flat, Wendy sneered at the guy across from her. James was a damn good partner back then. And what about you? Just waiting to reap the rewards. Alexander, if you hadn't seduced me, I wouldn't have divorced James, and my family wouldn't have fallen apart. Seducing you? Alexander dropped the act, taunting her. Was I the one who forced you to cheat and leave James for me? You wanted both the cake and to eat it. Now who's pretending? Let me tell you, you ain't dumping me to get back with him. I'll make sure your life is hell. The threat was clear. But Wendy didn't care. After all, he'd always played the innocent card. Even if he threatened, Wendy didn't take it seriously. Right now, she was trying desperately to grab onto me. She realized after taking a beating, Tiffany was being well protected, and she couldn't get close. Eventually, once again, her plan was slammed by a manager in a cafe. Gotta look like what a joke on the way out, and you think you deserve James's notice? Even a stray dog wouldn't take this. Not that she lacks talent, though. Just that the funds needed for this project were way beyond what any regular company could handle. Seemed like she was dreaming. No sooner had the man left, Wendy spotted me coming down from the hotel. She didn't care about anything else and ran over, only to be firmly stopped by the bodyguards. "James, is it you? You just hate me that much? I'm Tiffany's mother. What's in it for you making my life hell? It makes me happy," I responded almost instantly, grinning as she froze. "Your misery brings my joy. Isn't this how divorced couples act?" "Wendy, why'd you think I'd just take the hit quietly like a saint?" She wouldn't quit. "I can change, James. I know where I went wrong. This project means everything to me. If I fail, I'll die." I perked up, amazed. That's some good news. Wendy finally realized I really wasn't in love with her anymore. Her act just seemed pointless now. Cornered, she lashed out, "Do you really have to go so far?" I shook my head. "No." She seemed moved, but then I continued. "I could be even harsher. This is just the tip of the iceberg." She was furious. "You weren't like this before." Yeah, she wasn't cheating on me and only loved me back then, too. But she'd always hold others to a high standard and let herself off easy, making it seem like I was the one at fault. "No matter what, I'm still Tiffany's mom. Aren't you afraid she'll blame you for being so heartless when she grows up?" I asked seriously. "Do you even want Tiffany to recognize you as her mom?" "Of course, I am her mom," she replied. "Fine," I said. "Every expense, from her living costs to her classes and tuition, adds up to $1 million or more. If you want to be acknowledged, then you should pay your share of the child support for these years. It's not much, just a few million." Wendy left in a rage, throwing out, "James, you pushed me to this. Don't regret this." She always made it seem like she had no choice. You'd think she was some noble person. Why hadn't I noticed she was such a phony before? My assistant looked concerned. "James, if you push her like this, what if she does something extreme?" Watching her walk away, I replied, "If you don't push hard enough, how will the dog jump over the wall?" That very night, Alexander's blog, which had been silent for a year, posted new couple photos with Wendy. His followers flooded in. "Oh my gosh, your favorite couple is back. So happy. It's like a sweet bonus chapter after the novel ended." Who said Alexander's family was unhappy and a fake rich family? They clearly love each other. Beneath one of those comments, Alexander responded, "There were some unexpected events, but it doesn't matter. Wendy loves me, not someone who schemes to steal her away. We're very happy." Speculation ran wild. The most liked comment asked, "Could it be that greasy ex-husband stirring up trouble?" Alexander didn't reply or delete it, and the account's attention spiked again. 3 days later, Wendy walked into my competitor's company. Right then, my assistant knocked on my office door. "James, here are the materials for this bid." I looked up after a couple of pages. "By the way, has Lucy's resignation process finished?" The assistant nodded. She was making a fuss about not leaving, but suddenly agreed yesterday, saying she found another job. But, besides the competitors, who here in City A would hire her? Because it's a competitive relationship, they wouldn't heed my warning or fear offending me. I nodded, understanding. The next evening, 1 hour before the bidding event, Alexander's account released a video. He appeared in a white shirt, looking worn out and pitiful. "I've never wanted to worry my fans or cause any online attacks," he started. "But this time I have no choice." He looked at the camera, tears in his eyes. "James, I know you're watching. I know you're bitter that Wendy divorced and chose me. Be mad at me or Wendy, we don't care. But don't use the child as a bargaining chip. The child isn't your tool. Wendy and I won't be like you. Using a kid won't break us up. We're suing for custody because, no matter how heartless a father you are, Wendy is still her biological mom. And I'll treat the child as my own." His words were reluctant yet noble. Public opinion exploded, and my background went public. James using his kid as leverage. James the homewrecker. These shot to the top of the trends. Alexander's fans were first to comment. "Old man, quit joking. They're happily married. Who do you think you are? The child is innocent. Using her to threaten others is disgusting. Wow, in novels it's always the evil ex trying to break the main couple. But this is real life. While my assistant was ready to react quickly, he wasn't worried. But he told me the young lad saw those messages and wants to fight back. This kid and his fiery temper. I gestured to let Tiffany play some games. We'll deal with the rest after the bidding. But this bidding wrapped up quickly. On my way in, I ran into Wendy. She clearly knew how the news had turned and seemed a bit guilty. James, don't blame me. You started this. Behind her, my competitor's CEO was beaming. Wendy, your husband's gone, now losing talent too. Lucy, who joined his firm, chimed in, yeah, James, instead of competing and making a scene, maybe focus on cleaning up those nasty rumors. I smiled at Lucy. Lucy, regretting firing me, James? She mocked. Not at all, I said kindly. I just want to remind you. I looked at the rival CEO but spoke to Lucy. I heard your company's struggling, desperate for a big deal. Mixed up in this mess? You'd better hope you don't end up unable to pay your kids' tuition. Then I added to the CEO, husband's gone, kids gone, soon the money might be too. Watch your step or it'll all be lost. Her husband came from a wealthy family too. He couldn't handle her constant failures. So he just took the kids and went back to his grandpa's place. Honestly, this wasn't anything new. Compared to her, I'm really just a newbie in this kind of situation. I've never been so down before. The moment I stopped talking, the guy in charge looked furious, gritting his teeth. James, watch what you say. Don't burn all your bridges. You never know when you might need them. I glanced down at her and chuckled. Well, let's see how this plays out. As for Wendy, she's not even on my level right now. I won't even bother giving her a second glance. No surprise, their proposal was just a tweaked version of Wendy's plan. It looked decent enough, but that's about it. With so many companies here, none of them are that bad. Of course, if it wasn't mixed with parts of our company's original bid plans, it wouldn't be such a big deal. This is absurd. My assistant was shocked, then glanced instinctively at Lucy, who had recently left the company. It was you. You stole the plan. Lucy just smiled smugly. Don't go around slinging accusations. The leaked plan, coupled with the scandal involving the lead, left no suspense about the outcome. Their company won the bid. Up on stage, Wendy finally seemed to have regained her former glory after all this time. I watched her bask in her moment before turning to leave. Let's go. First up, I released the photos and evidence of Wendy cozying up to Alexander while she was still married. I tagged Alexander with a question. So, what's up with you getting close to my ex-wife back then? As for the kid, she was legally conceived through IVF before the divorce. I can raise her easily, so there's no need to find her an inadequate mom a few years down the line. There are also records of Wendy using our shared funds to buy Alexander an apartment. I had gathered these when I noticed signs of her cheating, thanks to a private investigator I hired. Initially, I just wanted enough evidence to make sure she walked away with less. But before I could even use it, Wendy rushed into the role of a love-driven warrior, giving me everything she had for the divorce papers. I was stunned by her foolish move. I signed the papers immediately, fearing she'd change her mind. I expected to only take 2/3 of the assets, but I got even more. The evidence I didn't need then turned out to be useful now. Solid proof. A legal notice was also posted, flipping the public opinion dramatically. Folks online who were calling me names were suddenly in shock. What they thought was a romantic story turned into tales of treachery. Why on earth did she act all innocent while knowing he had a wife? The public was furious, urging both the cheater and the mistress off the stage. Rarely, Alexander had no rebuttal, as the evidence was undeniable. He knew he'd be exposed but figured a few hours of dragging my name through the mud was worth it. Meanwhile, Wendy's plan was approved, and their bid won. Funds poured in, and Wendy was back on top, dragging Alexander into a posh lifestyle. One day he even called me, sneering, "James, you really think you've won? I could care less about an account. Now Wendy's got money. Nothing's off limits." I was just about to jet off with Tiffany when I blandly replied, "Well, best of luck to you both." As the plane was about to take off, I made one last call. The voice on the other end was respectful. "James." Gazing out at the view, I started, "It's getting chilly." the Wiltons should go under. The next day, the once thriving project hit an unexpected snag. Unpaid bills surfaced, the main investor fled, and the Wiltons had to cover the gaps themselves. This was their last hope, but the pit seemed bottomless. In just half a month, the Wiltons couldn't hang on any longer and declared bankruptcy. Wendy, thinking she was hitting her peak, instead crashed down hard with no hope of rising again. When I ended my vacation, on the way back to work, I asked Tiffany, "Honey, does it bother you that you don't have a mother's love?" The little one looked up with bright eyes. "With all the love from you, Daddy, and all this money, how could I ever feel a lack?" I teased, "Money isn't love." And she replied with wisdom beyond her years, "If you have lots of money, there's lots of love. Tiffany will always love you, Daddy. I'll make lots of money when I grow up." Reassured, I dropped her off at school and nearly got blocked by Wendy and Alexander on the way. Alexander was looking rough, glaring at me. "This is all your fault. You planned this. You ruined me." I played dumb. What did I do? But he ranted on. "Now I've lost everything. Are you satisfied? I can't live with a failure forever." But their drama was all over the internet. Good luck finding a straight job now. Wendy, buried in debt, tried to use Tiffany as leverage. "James, I'm Tiffany's real mom. Help me. Just this once." I helped, by calling the cops for causing a disturbance. They took both him and Alexander away. We probably won't meet again, as I've told company security to blacklist them, labeling them, "No dogs or these two allowed." Our staff declared discrimination against dogs, so we dropped that. The two remain permanently banned, left to decay in the aftermath.